Okay, let's see if we get started here. I'm going to build a dimmer switch for a reptile enclosure. You can use it for insects, mammals, breeding, geckos, whatever you want. I bought an extension cord at Home Depot for like $5.97, an 8-footer, and I also made sure that it had grounded plugs. I prefer grounded plugs. I bought a handy box and a plaster ring for another few dollars, and I bought a dimmer switch, typical rotary dimmer switch for $4.95, and I bought some Romex connectors. They are actually called cable connectors. So what we do here is we take our little handy box, and I've already done it. I've knocked out the small 1/2-inch knockouts. You'll see here that there's a 3/4 inch, there's a 1/2 inch, there's a 3/4 inch, and a 1/2 inch. I just knock out 2 of the 1/2 inch knockouts, and I put my Romex connectors in with the screw sides out and the lock ring in. And we get that oriented so that your screws are right towards you, so that eventually when you go to clamp down your cable to secure it, you have easy access to the screws. And I give this a little crank and tighten it up with my wire cutter pliers. These come in really handy. As you can see, they are pretty old and beat up. They do the job. So I'm going to install the next Romex connector down at the bottom. Again, the screws are towards you, and the lock ring goes on the inside. Get that secured real quick. Hand tighten it first, and then just a little, just enough so that it's going to be secure and it's not going to be rotating around inside in the years to come. This little device here will last you a lifetime. That's pretty good. There you go. Your box is just about prepared. You got your Romex connectors. I took this extension cord and I've cut it, and I left the female end about 1 foot long. And I took a razor knife and I separated the wires, just like so, about 4 or 5 inches down, whatever. And you'll see right here I marked this cord with blue tape. Just about every extension cord I know has, especially when you're dealing with these white ones, these 2 wires are identical except for the fact that this one here has ribs on it. So when I go to make up my electrical connections, with the other end, which is the male end originally, this was all one piece, I am going to actually make sure that these ribs in the extension cord, you can tell with your fingernail, are going to be on the same parallel installation. They're not going to get switched to the other side by accident. So these 2 are marked with tape for my benefit, and I would suggest you do the same. So after you take your cord and you get it spliced out like so, you want to take your wire trimmers and you want to cut off the plastic only about 3/4 of an inch and leaving bare copper. That way you can get your wire nuts on there and tighten everything up and make your electrical connections. So just as an example, here's 3/4 of an inch roughly, and I just took off the plastic with the appropriate sized notch. And one more time, taking off the plastic only. And believe me, if you make a mistake and you go and cut the wire off, you can start over again. We've got 8 feet of cord here. On this particular side, you're not going to lose too much, and it won't be critical. On this side, however, you want to make sure that you do it right. Because at this point, when we've cut it, and that's about all you've got left, you've got 2 attempts to make this right. Okay, now that this is done, the easy part for me is just installing it. The male end, I like to have the male end at the bottom. Oh, let me get over here and grab this. The male end goes at the bottom because it's going to get plugged into your wall somewhere and power this unit up. The female end is going to come over here and hang out the side, just like so. Let me get these screws undone a little bit. And I stick that in there, like so. And for some of us it's easier to leave it loose and do our wiring. But for this, I'm just going to snug these up on the cable. Make sure it's nice and flat in there. You want to make sure that it's not turned and getting cramped. This is just to hold it in place so it doesn't fall out. And this end over here on the side is going to receive whatever under tank heat I want, maybe an incandescent light or maybe 2 under tank heaters, and that way I can control the temperature and the light and the heat given off by those units. And we grab the bottom one here. We stick that in there like so. Let me finish trimming up this ground wire. Just like that. And I twist them nice and tight so that they're easy to deal with. And put that in there. And we snug that up. Nice and flat. Just like so. And now I've got all my wires ready to receive my dimmer. So, what do we have on the dimmer here? We've got a typical rotary dimmer switch. It's marked top here, so I know that I'm going to put this in my box with this towards the top. And I've got a ground wire for sure, and here's the easy part. All 3 ground wires that are in here, all 3 green ground wires, are going to get connected together. So I can do that right away. I'll just take all 3 of my green wires, make sure they're all the same length when you do this so your wire nut secures them all. And they come with 3 wire nuts in the package of the dimmer. But I had to go run into the garage and get an extra wire nut. I've got plenty. And I just twist that on there real nice. Make sure it's firmly, snugly on there. And give it a little tug. Make sure that the ground wires are going to stay there. Okay, that one's done. Now, your white wires. You've got your ribbed wires, okay? Your ribbed wires are going to get the black wire of the dimmer. One black wire of the dimmer goes to one side, the side that enters into the box, and we twist that up with a wire nut. Again, making sure they're both in there real good. And that's secure. That is now supplying power to my dimmer switch, and the power going out on the other black wire is going to go to the other ribbed wire, other ribbed extension cord side, and that's the side going out. Other than that, let me finish wire nutting these up. Just like so. Nice and snug. Give it a little tug. Make sure it's not loose. Okay, so 2 ribbed wires are in parallel, so they're both on the same line. Our 2 non-ribbed wires are going to get joined together because on a switch, all you need to do is break the circuit with the switch on one line. On the other line, it's just continuous, but we had to cut it just to assemble this unit. So we're just going to put it back together, basically. So now that we've got that, you are wired up.